Okay, so this is the deal. Here are the pieces I cut off this car. This is my humble abode. This is my painter. I am completely looking like a backyard yakety yak kind of guy. That's cool. I really don't care. I am a ticketed collision tech. I took restos on because the industry sucks, but the trade is still good. Okay, first off, I'm going to point out the mistake that I made right away. I cut this piece because it does have rust right here. So I lopped it out right there, and then I realized that I'm doing something stupid, so I just cut it straight across after that. That is why I have this welded right here, because I am going to put that back together. I also have rust right there. You can see it looks like Swiss cheese. Not cool. Sucks bag. Welcome to life. This is a 69 Dart. It is actually quite straight compared to a lot of these things. It does have minimal rust, at least. This is another piece that I chopped out. I also have a piece on the other side that I chopped out. There's also one right there that I'm going to have to build a patch for. The reason I am making this is to show how I make patches. These are my templates. This piece, thank you, buddy, is a representation of that piece right there. I am not a movie maker. I am using my old lady's Rooster Pink camera to do this. I'm sure sound quality and editing is going to suck. And I am in no way going to say that this is the absolute and or perfect way to do this, but I'm going to show how I do it so that at least we can have a little bit of an idea, because I know that there is very few bodywork videos out there that, well, that don't suck, that I agree with. So, anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my super duper trusty 2-inch tape right here. I'm going to tape the snot out of this. Probably 2, 3, 4 layers of tape on that. Once I have that taped, I am going to show you how I map this and cut my tape and then lay it on the panel so that you can get an idea of what in the crap is going on. Alright, shutting it off. Okay, so here we go again. Okay, I got my piece. I got it taped, end to end. The reason I don't have this end taped is because I'm going to salvage that, because to pound that piece out on a sandbag is going to lick a lot of bag. So I have it cut like this, yada yada yada. I'm basically going to have to build the entire bottom lip, which, again, is going to suck. It's all Swiss cheese. So what you do, now that I have it taped, is you take your handy dandy razor blade, that guy right there, and you go along the edge and you chop all the tape off. Maps it out, gets you ready, and then I'm going to show what to do right here when I'm done. Oh, and just like carpentry, measure twice. Okay, after some phone issues, here we are again. Anyways, got this all taped out. These marks right here, cut a couple lines in this thing so that when you peel it back, it doesn't just turn into a big mess of silliness, because it's got to be flat. That's a round surface. I don't know how much more to simplify that. That's why this is in that manner, because that right there, this piece is this piece, correct? Those are called stress cuts. And then when I chop this piece out, I'm going to take my blade and I'm going to chop it there, yada 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 yada. And then that way you can take that metal and you can bend it down and then weld up the seams. Do that before you go to weld the patch on the vehicle. That way you can clean up the back of this and whatnot. It's a ton of work. Honestly, it's one of these things where, should we buy a quarter panel? Should we not? The thing about buying a quarter panel is that they are jobber Taiwan crap and they don't fit. So you're better off, if you only have a little bit of rust on the bottom, in my eyes at least anyways, to rebuild the bottom of it and go to town thusly. Okay, so I'm going to take my handy dandy razor blade, wherever in the crap I put it right there, okay, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, is start to cut this out. What you want to do, the reason I have these lines on here as well, is to give you an indication of where your bends are going to be, so that when it comes time to put the tape on the panel and yada yada yada, Honestly, I would keep the tape on the panel until all the cutting is completely finished. Use those lines as it's still on the new sheet metal to pound out your lines where you want them and then fit accordingly. So I'm going to shut her down again, cut the tape off, transfer it, and okay, I apologize for stop, start, but this is me peeling this off. You want to be very gentle. You don't want to be tearing that crap off there. Like I said, I got about 4, maybe 5 layers of masking tape on this, and don't use cheap house painter crap either. Go buy some, it's called American tape or something decent. Don't buy junk. You got to use automotive tape to do this. You buy household crap like a household painter would, and it's just gonna fall off and be gay. So, anyways, this is what you want to do. Very gently peel it all off there. I'm going to shut her down again because I don't have a tripod. Like I said, I got the old lady's camera. It sucks. And I'm going to show this when it's transferred on there, and then we'll... Okay, here we are. She's on the sheet metal. It's all spread out. It was cranky when I did it because it wanted to keep that form. To people that are new to this, you need to understand that this is not math. This is not an exact science. So you are going to require some modification when you are doing these types of things. Little loose in spots, might glue it down, whatever it takes, little super glue or something like that. And I'm going to chop this out. And I'm going to show the finished product after I have it chopped, and then we are going to bend it into place. I have my handy dandy anvil right there. I'm going to beat the piss out of it. It's going to be... Okay, here we are again. I have these pieces cut out. I used my airsoft to cut these pieces out to do the rough line. I got a little too close there, but I cut it big. Because, like I said, should, in theory, be cutting once and measuring twice, but, c'est la vie. When I made my stress cuts, I used my zip cut wheel, and the reason I did that is because you want, that wheel right there, zip cut, it's still thin, it's I think a 16th, if not smaller. But the reason I do that is because when you go to fold these little flappies together, even with a bit of a bigger gap, it's probably still going to overlap a little bit. So that is what I did. Like I said, this is not an exact science, man. You're going to have to screw this thing. Again, I apologize. I got a shitty camera. I got no equipment. So I'm going to come over here, do my wood stove, which is what I use to heat my shop. Put it on here, and I'm going to start to use these edges to beat this thing into submission. So I'm just going to prop you up. I have my body hammer, snap on, don't buy anything else. I also have my door skin hammer, snap on, don't buy anything else. Fancy guys that do sheet metal work have nylon hammers and all sorts of fancy picks and crap like that. I'm a collision technician. I am not a dentique kind of guy. Not to say that I'm a hack, I just do things a little differently. So anyways, these lines that I have written out right there, that is where you want to start building your crease lines. And you don't need to pound it completely square because you'll never find an exact 90-degree angle on the outside of a vehicle. Correct? That is nice and round. That is what you are looking for. I'm actually going to do those corners last. I'm going to pound my edges flat first, my drawn lines. I could make a break if I had brought the appropriate vice grips and whatnot, you can make a homemade brake out of a board and duckbill vice grips, but I did not think that far ahead. There we go. That's better. Oh, outstanding! Now we're taking shape. This is all rough estimate. You do this roughly, then you fit it on the car. I apologize to those of you that are in the trade because this is all mundane and obvious, but new to this. Not bodywork, making videos, except for that one time in college. It's still good, it's still good. Okay, this is also what I have, is I do have a sandbag. Outstanding piece of equipment. The nice thing about a sandbag is that when you whackety-whack a piece of steel on a sandbag, you are not stretching the snot out of your metal. I'm holding this metal and my camera in one hand, so you'll have to excuse me again. Okay, I've got my basic shape. It's starting to, you can see it's starting to round out. So I'm going to start pushing my little tabs in, and I'm going to mess with this a bit more, but anyways, I'm going to shut the camera back down again, and yeah, this is how you do it, to roughly do it at least anyways. We'll fire the camera back up and look at some more later. Okay, here we are. Beat my edges down. I got some hammer marks in here that I'm going to straighten out appropriately after I make sure that this is going to fit. This is why you make your stress cuts, because now you can start to push those in. Like I said, even with the zip cut wheel, you can see how some of these are, well, you might not be able to with this camera, but you can see how they are beginning to overlap. What I'm going to do is push all those down, get this thing fitting, and then I will run back up there again with the zip cut wheel, because if you have overlapping steel and you weld it up, you're just creating an area for rust, which is the exact opposite of what we want to do, because that means I have to warranty it and I am not going to eat shit. Same thing, here's my stress cuts. That one is blatantly overlapping. But that is basically the name of the game. I'm going to kind of somewhat fit this thing, weld it up, fit it again, and then what I'm going to do is, I don't know where everybody else in the world is, but where I'm at, industry standard is to sleeve anything that you're splicing, and to sleeve it, what that is create a piece of metal that is going to go on the inside like that, and it gives you a backing so that you have a nice weld, and depending on how you weld or who you are or what you believe, it can also help with distortion as well, depending on how you weld it and what you're doing. So yeah, that's the name of the game. Anyways, these are these pieces as well. I have them cut out, same thing, stress cuts, but this piece right here is this piece right here. So you can see how I am on kind of the right path, because the same basic shape is there. Like I said, this is rough, it looks woobly doodly doo, and I gotta hammer out those marks and whatnot, because filling shit with green stuff is not cool, and if you do that, you suck. So just keep that in mind. You suck if you fill shit with green stuff.